I came across this idea, and it's kind of an interesting concept. It's nudity as a paradox. So everybody's born naked. Usually people die naked. But you're born with that feeling of no shame. And so through your life, in one circumstance or another, gets added shame and self-consciousness, and that you might be inferior, so insecurity. And it causes a paradox, because those who enjoying a clothesless hobby or whatever feel a freedom, feel a psychological, emotional, and self-esteem freedom from being naked. And so I never thought of it as a paradox, but it really is, because people struggle with those feelings, those negative feelings, and they put clothes on it, basically. And I wanted to put that part of this, is that it really is a paradox. And those who join a more, like swinging and some others, nudity becomes more natural. It's not their original experience. It's kind of a hard experience at first for many. You do research about nudity and the social part of it and the cultural part of it, and you find out that nudity was very common throughout our history as humans, and it's generally been gone up and down in whether it was acceptable or not. And right now it was unacceptable. It's becoming more acceptable, which is kind of an interesting idea, because we're growing as a country, and different things are being smashed against right now, socially, because they think they're right, and people who on the opposite side think they're right, and so they're clashing against each other, against these moral, quote, values. They can starve children and pull off health care for the sick, but they're moral in their view. So nobody else thinks that's moral in the world, but they do. So it's a self-righteous morality, and nudity is part of that. Nudity is part of that idea, and they don't have a religious pass for it, because there's nothing that says you got to put clothes on that. The original idea in the Bible is that it was shame. God said, why are you naked? Why are you clothed? And he said, because we're ashamed of ourselves. So nudity and clothing have a lot to do with shame in our species. I don't think you would take that idea literally from the Bible, but the shame part of it is true. And that's what makes nudity such an interesting idea. It's such a paradox, because you feel freedom on one hand, you feel a release from those emotional insecurities, those emotional problems, those feelings of sin. You feel a release of that because of nudity. And so that's why it forces many people to deal with that concept when they're just entering the lifestyle.